Good Wednesday morning. Today is October 25th, and if you're watching this on YouTube or something years later, the year is 2023. Uh, Hopefully there will be years later, but anyway, it's sort of a spooky time of year, uh, and that's not just sort of a subjective feeling. Uh, it's an objective realization that people for thousands of years are sensitive to. Almost every culture has some kind of ancestral uh, honoring rituals, traditions that that seem to honor the dead, as if this time of year, with what the sun does, what it does, or the obliquity of the Earth's axis does what it does, or whatever it is, almost everybody feels that the veil between the dimensions of the living and the dead is very thin. And in more balanced, wholesome cultures, they celebrate that fact. They honor dead ancestors. Um, Disney came out with just an incredibly charming, fun movie, animated movie a few years ago uh, called Coco. Okay. Dealt with the Day of the Dead and the idea, but it's not just Latin America that has this tradition. Europe has this tradition. Asia, China, the Africa, everybody at this time of year senses that it's time to invite back ancestors, to invite back to remember the dead, to as if the dead have a continuing interest, if you will, in our well-being. In the same way as that when you become a parent, okay, when you become a father or a mother, especially a mother, something happens. My dad used to tell me he's an old Scorpio, okay, and he's dead, okay, and I still appreciate his wisdom. I still feel he's somehow never not with me. Um, but my dad used to say, because I had a brother, an older brother, and he says, "I love you boys." And I said, "Well, which one do you love more?" He said, "I love you both equally, and I think about you all the time." Okay, I said, "Oh, give me a break." Okay, how can you think about us all the time? Okay, you're just saying that to make me feel good. Okay, the minute I was in the delivery room when Jean Paul was born 50 some years ago, the moment he came surfing out, exploding out into the delivery doctor's hands, I understood. I understood. I started thinking about him. And I think about him as a perpetual background meditation all the time. And even though we're separated by many thousands of miles, he's on the other side of the earth. I think about him all the time in a part of my psyche that just has total room to think about something all the time while I go about fumbling my way through the rest of my objective existence. Well, that I think doesn't ever stop. And I don't think even death puts an end to that. And I think that's what we're all sensing, especially at this time of year. And of course, the cultural observances, help reinforce that. But I think if we were just uninfluenced by cultural influences, I think everybody would actually be feeling this um, at the same time. So the wisest among us might want to take advantage of this potential that we have from the wisdom of our own ancestors to, while we're already thinking about this thin veil that's between the areas, to actually overtly, with full intent, try to not only recognize and honor our ancestral uh, team of spirits, if you will, but to actually give them the opportunity to give us some advice. Now, there's all sorts of ways to do that, and I'm going to just bring up one because I've been working with it lately in preparation for the new book. But the random oracles, if we're doing it with full intent of, okay, which of my loving ancestors truly has a pertinent message for me at this particular time. I don't want to sound like a table tapping spiritualist. Not there's anything wrong with that, but uh, any oracle that you're in tune with might help. And the oracle I was thinking of course, because I love and resonate well with the I Ching, um, is the I Ching. And the little demonstration I'm going to do right now is going to be a I Ching uh, uh, demonstration. Now, I've talked about the I Ching a whole lot in my daily visits with you, but I don't think I've ever read you Crowley's own introduction. It's just 2-3 pages um, from his own translation or version of the I Ching. Now, this book is well over 50 years old. It's the Level Press edition of the I Ching, a new translation of the Book of Changes by the Master Therian, Aleister Crowley. Now, believe it or not, this is the back of the book. Okay. And because Chinese books read, that's the cover. Okay. And I've used this so much it's fallen apart. But I use the Wilhelm Baines translation of the I Ching for years. But I've been really impressed, as I mentioned a few days ago, about the Benny Belwen's new magnum opus, tour de force, I Ching that's out there. And Crowley's is very simple. It's almost as simple as DuQuette's own Yi Ching of Milo. But if you're totally unaware, this is how Crowley explained the Yi Ching. Okay. And he starts off, as Crowley is often wont to do, by trying to tell you absolutely everything about everything else, including the existence and the creation of existence itself. The I Ching is connected directly to the Chinese uh, classic, Kabbalistic classic, if you will, uh, the Tao Te Ching. Here's Crowley's little introduction. The Yi, he spells it Yiking, which is perfectly, of course, it's acceptable. The I Ching is mathematical and philosophical in form. Its structure is cognate with that of the Kabbalah. The actual apparatus is simple, and 5 minutes is sufficient to obtain a fairly detailed answer to any but the most obscure questions. He signs it Tomegatherion. And in this early translation, I think they didn't capitalize the two in Tomegatherion, but that's beside the point. The next page is called the Tao. Now, if you've got maybe I've got a tree of life I've drawn out here. I guess I don't. But if you think about the tree of life as you hear this, the Tao, T-A-O, the Tao concentrateth itself upon Kether. That's number 1 on the tree of life. The Tao concentrateth itself upon Kether as a point. Tao directeth itself within Hokmah, that's number 2, and becomes the male force. He is called Yang and is symbolized by a solid line. Tao expandeth into Bina, that's number 3 on the tree of life, and becometh the female force. She is called Yin and is symbolized by a broken line. These 3, Tao, 1, Yang, and Yin, bring forth heaven and earth and all contained therein. The apparatus. 0. Tao is the source of the Yi Ching as of all. 1. Thou shalt obtain 6 Chinese coins. 5 shall be of one metal, and the 6th of another. One side ye shall call Yang, and the other Yin, or heads and tails. These coins should be kept in a wrapped black cloth, and no other should lay his hand upon them, for they swell with thine aura when used with sincerity and repetition. 3. Hast no coins? 6 sticks will serve. One of the 6 is special. Okay. Hast no coins? 6 sticks will serve. Paint one side solid and the other side broken. Make one special. Okay, where is it? Okay, here it is. This one has ends are painted black, and it has a little notch that you can see is different. Okay. You can tell this is different. One of the six is special. It should be made unique by painting one end on both sides, like Lon did. Care for thine sticks as though they were coins. Okay. The method. When a situation ariseth in thy mind, and you would seek an oracle, do this. Go and take out thine coins or sticks. Face thou east. Well, I'm facing east right now. And make clear thy mind, so that no thoughts shall intrude. Well, you may think I do that a lot, but actually, it's hard. Call upon what God ye will, filling thyself with pure light, and raising thine mind to a fixed image of the situation into which you inquire. I'd like to know a message one of my ancestors needs to tell me right now. Then gently toss the sticks toward the east. Okay. Whilst they fall into a certain pattern which thou wilt arrange into an hexagram, the unit of divination of this book, Yi Ching. So I'm putting this one here. Okay, that one there. And because I can't turn my camera, I'm going to, and which one is moving? The top line is moving. They're all unbroken lines from the bottom almost to the top. There's 5 unbroken yang lines, and on the top is a broken line, and that line is also the moving line. An hexagram is made up of 6 lines, each line being a yang or yin. The especial stick or coin is called the moving line. Each line of the hexagram is numbered, while the line nearest thyself, or the bottom one here, is number 1, while the farthest one away is number 6. So we have a moving line in the 6th place. Okay. Take notice that the hexagram is divided into 2 trigrams, an upper trigram and a lower trigram. Well, in this case, the lower trigram is all unbroken male lines, or yang lines. And the top trigram is, from the bottom up, unbroken yang, and the very top one is a broken yin, or an old yin line. The yin line. Now, because it's a moving line, it's called an old line. It's an old yin. It's so old that it's getting ready to transition like a butterfly into its opposite. It's that part of the hexagram that is moving to something else. And the idea of a I Ching hexagram is to get a sense of the motion, like a flipped cartoon. Which way is it? Which way is this moving? Taking thine key, which is in this book, and where is this? There's the key that's in the book. Okay. You find the upper trigram, which I'll find right there. Okay. And the lower trigram, which is this one right here. So using this chart, we see that I've just drawn hexagram 43 with a moving line in the 6th place. Okay. Hang on. Interpretation. Taking thine key, which is this book, thou wilt find the upper trigram along the top squares. Next, find the lower trigram on the left of the chart, which I've done. Follow the trigrams. This book has a few typos. Follow the, oh, no, it's not a typo. Follow the trigrams into the center of the key. Behold the number, and in this case, 43. Then thou shalt read the 43rd hexagram of this book, Yi Ching. The first 2 lines refer to the hexagram as a whole, showing thee the direction of the matter. So let's read those 2 lines on hexagram 43. Hexagram 43 is, and you'll see there's our hexagram. And I've had to write the title of that, or a classic title, Breaking Through, or Resolution. That's sort of my first ancestral theme, if you will. And it says, cutting off, displeasure, front thy foe, but show reluctance due in acting so. Cutting off, displeasure. So, and I'll show you how that's punctuated. Cutting off, displeasure. Front thy foe, but show reluctance due in acting so. Now, then thou shalt read this. Okay, the first 2 lines refer to the hexagram as a whole, showing thee the direction of the matter. Next appeareth a 6-line poem. The first line of this poem pertaineth to the line number 1 in the hexagram. That's the one on the bottom. So this 6-line poem is the hexagram, except read in reverse order. So that first line is the bottom line of my hexagram. The second is the second one going up, and finally the top one, which is my moving line, is right there. And you can see, cut off is he, and evil his end be. Wow. That's spooky. Next appears the 6-line poem. The first line of this poem pertaineth to the line number 1 in the hexagram. The last line of the poem is for number 6, the farthest one away. This one. The moving line in this case is the specific line which pertains to thy situation. Thine answer from the Tao. If thou dost not understand and are bewildered by doubts and questions concerning the forces of this divination, thou mayest read Magic. He plugs a book where the Master Therian has made a discourse on the subject of his understanding of the Tao. Okay, what he has not done is move that moving line to its opposite and place it back, creating another hexagram, the hexagram number 1. The creative. That weird, spooky, evilish message turns into this. Originating from the term piercing, advantageous, right, and firm. It's the equivalent of an entire creation cycle starting again. I'm curious what the I Ching of Milo has to say about this. Hexagram 43. Compromise with jerks is not an option. But what will thou gain if you become a jerk to battle them? Expose them and brand them, but first expose and brand the jerk in you. Now that sounds more like what my relatives are trying to tell me. Especially from considering the fact that when I wrote the I Ching of Milo, they were probably helping too. Okay, the moving line in the top place of 43 in the I Ching of Milo says, victory? Don't celebrate until all the pockets of evil have been rooted out. Otherwise, you're dead. And then when that moving line moves, it moves to the creative. Creative effort brings success. Build your strength and stamina. And there's that. I'll be happy to be left with that encouragement. Anyway, that's a little spooky Halloween-esque kind of divination. But really what I want you to at least consider and take advantage of what appears to be this thinness of the veil between dimensions. And, the whole ancestor worship thing, I think is connected sort of in a quantum dimensional way with the code the genetic code that we carry with us. So it's like it's a sleight of hand between reincarnation is kind of a sleight of hand between DNA and I think in other words, I think we are our own ancestors. Certainly from a physiological point of view, with our string of DNA, we are every one of our ancestors. As a matter of fact, we're the only one of our whole ancestors and potentially our own offspring. We're the only one that's existing sort of in this dimension. Of course, you might be lucky enough to have your father and mother still with us, or grandparents, but I mean the entire string going back into prehistory. Anyway, that's my ramble for today, and I hope to talk to you tomorrow. And we'll probably do something a little spooky too, because I'm just in a damn spooky mood. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love's the law, love under will.